Namaste everyone, and welcome to The Student and the Scholar. Today, we will be discussing the topic of Guru. Today's conversation is the latest edition of our Wisdom Wednesday webinar series. Wisdom Wednesdays is a part of the National Hindu Students' Forum UK's Distancing Dharmically campaign, where we invite a range of speakers to discuss a topic with our students. Before we get started, I'd like to pass on to Harshik, who will recite the Gayatri Mantra. Please join in from the comfort of your own home as we say one Omkar and the mantra.
Namaste. So if everyone could close their eyes, we'll say a nice Om. Om Bhur-bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. So, namaste everyone. Welcome to Wisdom Student and the Scholar. I would firstly like to introduce our guest speaker. It is a great pleasure to welcome Acharya Vidyabhaskarji. Acharya Vidyabhaskarji is a renowned scholar from the Omkarananda ashram in Switzerland. He was educated in the UK, Austria and Switzerland up until the age of 12, after which he followed a passion to study Sanskrit and ancient scriptures in the Sri Kailash ashram in Rishikesh for 6 years. Following a short period of teaching, he decided to enroll at the University of Freiburg in Switzerland, where he completed up to a master's degree in comparative religion and then went on to complete his postgrad studies in organizational psychology. Presently, he teaches Sanskrit in Switzerland and is working on large translation projects, including the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and the Essence of Rigveda. Within NHSF, he's toured many universities with topics such as Dharma and happiness, and has also featured in our Sanskrit Word of the Month initiative. Furthermore, representing our students for today, we also have myself and Sakshi Vaidya. Sakshi is a graduate of cybersecurity from the De Montfort University and is currently on the Central Zone team for the National Campus team. And myself, Harshik, who's graduated from University of Manchester studying mathematics, is on the North Zone team for the National Campus team.
Thank you, Harshik. So to take everyone through the format of today's session, we'll have a discussion between ourselves and the scholar until around 7:30, and then a Q&A from you guys, the audience, and then some final takeaways. So whilst we're discussing, we would like to encourage all of you to like and share this video. And again, feel free to comment throughout this discussion in the comment section below. We'll be answering your questions towards the end of the session.
So without further ado, let's just begin, I suppose. So thank you for joining us, Acharya Vidyabhaskarji. My first question is very simply, what is a guru? Because definitely throughout my life, whenever I think of a guru, I always think of someone who's sat there under a tree, a man with a beard, maybe, with a orange gown or robe. So I just want a definition or some sort of, where does the term guru come from, effectively?
Wonderful question. Thank you for hosting me again here, and thank you for the NHSF organizers for suggesting it. The word guru has many, many meanings. There is an entire scripture dedicated to these meanings. It is called the Guru Gita. So like we have the Bhagavad Gita, there is also the Guru Gita. Just merely linguistically, it comes from the word guru, which means heavy in the sense of important. And it is also explained as meaning that which removes darkness. So there is a famous verse, Gukaras tvandhakarascha rukaras teja uchyate. So the syllable gu means darkness and the syllable ru means light. Therefore, that which removes the darkness, the light, that removes the dullness of the mind is the Guru. So this is just the linguistic meaning, the language meaning. And with time, we come to see that the word Guru means teacher, somebody who is important, weighty, because the word Guru has that sense, like the English word gravity comes from the same root, grave, right? When somebody's like really grave, then the person is a Guru. But here, Gurus can also be very fun people, of course. The point is the subject that the Guru is teaching is highly important, is not just some entertainment, and it is not just some way to spend one's time, you know, as some sort of leisure like Netflix. Rather, what a Guru teaches you is serious. That is the point. Do you understand? The primary meaning is somebody grave and important who teaches you something important. Now, whether that is biology or geography or spiritual science, does it really make a difference? Consider the following. If you don't know your way to the tree under which your spiritual guru dwells or might dwell, if you cannot find your way to that city without a rudimentary understanding of geography, clearly you will never make it there, isn't it? So your geography teacher is just as important as your spiritual teacher. I hope that becomes clear in the course of this conversation.
That's interesting because, again, just going off, when you think of a guru, you always think of, definitely I have, I'm sure many people have, they think of this spiritual, enlightening being who passes on this idea of spirituality to a student, whoever it is. Is this the case then? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? In that case?
In the tradition, we distinguish between a Diksha Guru, that is an initiation Guru, who, for example, gives you a mantra, a sacred formula, and when you practice that, you begin to feel certain spiritual results. Your mind might become more perceptive, more vivid, more kind, more compassionate, more content, happier. And you might feel a stronger connection to the rishis of old who revealed these mantras. That would be a Diksha Guru, a spiritual Guru who has given you initiation into some spiritual practice, yes? The other is called a Shiksha Guru, a teacher who teaches you education. Things like how to pronounce the word ah, the vowel e, the consonant ka, the consonant sh, not sha, but sh, right? That is also a guru, including all the subjects that you can imagine, whether it is geology, astronomy, all the subjects of the Vedangas, the limbs of the Veda. That means not the Vedas, but those subjects who are useful in understanding the Vedas. Let me give you an example. Without a rudimentary understanding of Sanskrit grammar, can you expect to understand Vedic verses? Probably not. If you just guess the meaning of the verses, is that really wise? No. Therefore, your grammar teacher is a real guru. My first guru in grammar was Acharya Swami Medhananda Puri of Kailas Ashram. He's still alive, Swamiji, pranam. Because without him, I couldn't be sitting here explaining this to you. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Vidyabhaskarji. It was nice for you to kind of differentiate the different types and the levels of it. So you kind of touched on the history a little bit of the word guru. But in our itihas, in our history, you know, there are a lot of gurus and acharyas mentioned. For example, Shankaracharya or Guru Dronacharya. Even with yourself, your name is Acharya Vidyabhaskarji. So I'd like to know, you know, is there a difference between the word guru and acharya?
Well, linguistically, yes. Acharya is somebody whose conduct is to be emulated, who is to be followed, so to speak. Whereas guru, as we just said, is someone heavy, someone weighty, someone important. In their actual use, there is no difference. You can see this in Anandagiri's Tika, which is a sub-commentary on Shankaracharya's commentary to one of the Upanishads. Anandagiri says that one of the limbs of knowledge, Vidyanga, is in fact Acharya Bhakti, devotion to the Acharya, is a limb of knowledge. Why? Without devotion to your Acharya, how will you absorb the knowledge that he is trying to transfer to you? So essentially, no, there is no difference between a guru and an Acharya. However, Sakshiji, and by the way, you have the most beautiful name in all of history. It means the witness, the one who just witnesses all things. That is the true Parabrahman. The ultimate guru is Sakshi. That's you. So you see, in modern times, a trend has arisen where a guru is only a spiritual teacher, whereas an acharya is just a scholar. This is a trend of modern times, however. Historically, I would say this is a result of the past 70 years, not older than that. Before that, the words were absolutely synonymous. And I feel all my acharyas were indeed my gurus. There is not an iota of a difference between them, including my family's guru, including my Diksha gurus, including my educational gurus, even including my teachers and professors at university, even non-Hindu professors. From one of them, I learned so much that I still remember him. Once a week, he comes to mind. He was the only person I knew who had a professor title and 2 PhDs. He was a PhD in science, physics, and in religious studies. What more do you want, Sakshi, than someone who can really tell you, is there a connection between religious theories and experiences and raw modern science? And you know what he told me? The only religion in the entire world that actually corresponds to modern science in many respects, not in all respects, is Hinduism. But this was not a Hindu. This was just a philosopher. But do you see, Sakshi? He comes to mind once a week because he instilled in my mind the realization that we Hindus are not just another bunch of religious people who just believe things that their parents and their gurus have told them. You see? Do you see why that man is as great as any of my other Hindu gurus? You see it?
Absolutely. Thank you for that really insightful thought. So kind of going off a little bit off topic, you know, are there different levels to gurus, for example? Is there an ultimate guru, or is there like a hierarchy of gurus?
The ultimate guru, this will shock you a little bit. The ultimate guru is Paramatma, Parabrahman, your own true nature, that consciousness in you which guides every moment of your feeling, breathing, thinking, intellectual activity, whatever it may be. This is the Antaryami, the inner indwelling guide, who gently guides you through life if only you listen to him. Sakshiji, would you go to Tiffany's in London and steal a beautiful diamond necklace? Would you? If I told
I wouldn't.
Hold on a moment. If I told you to do it?
Probably not, because the instinct or the initial thought I'd have is that it's wrong.
But wouldn't it beautify you? And you could also buy a diamond ring for Harshik, no? You could pretend that you are there to buy the ring and steal the necklace. Wouldn't that be clever?
I mean, it's an interesting thought, but still, initially I would say no, because stealing is wrong, and that's what's been instilled in my head.
So how do you know that it is truly wrong? Isn't it, to cut the story short, your own inner conscience, your own awareness, your own intuition that tells you that? Is it really just your mummy, Sakshiji? Because your mummy said, stealing is bad. Is that the reason you're not going to Tiffany's and taking the necklace?
I guess it would be a mix of what I've learned or what I've been taught from my parents. Also, I guess society as well. What society is kind of deemed as right or wrong.
But it would also be
my own.
Exactly. So you see, that is why our mother is the first guru. in the scriptures, in the Hindu scriptures, we say our mother is the first guru. Our father is the second guru. Then come the other gurus, and the highest guru is your own indwelling consciousness. So when you ask for a hierarchy, well, clearly that which leads you to your own indwelling consciousness, to understand it well, to be in alignment with it, to feel its energy, so to speak. I don't like the word energy really, because energy is a physical, sort of a scientific term. So people who talk about energies, I always sort of think, oh dear, right? But please understand what I mean. Your consciousness is a certain energy, isn't it? When you pay attention to it, Sakshiji, you actually gain some insight. That is why we learn to meditate, isn't it? We don't meditate so that we just feel calm. We meditate so that we develop intuition. This is called pratibham jnanam in the Yoga Sutras. So that we begin to know what we should do in life, rather than just blindly going through life like, I'm sorry to say, Jack the Ripper or someone, right? Who doesn't know what he's doing and harming other people. Or some fanatical person who's calling, for religious or cultural wars or things like that, isn't it? So to meditate means to come in touch with one's own innermost being, which is called Paramatma. Therefore, Sakshiji, those who lead and guide you towards your own innermost nature, those are the most important gurus, yes? But those gurus who perhaps are not directly leading you to that, but who nevertheless are important influencers in your life, and who gift you knowledge, who give you knowledge transfer, those are ultimately also Vidyangas, limbs of knowledge. Because without them, you wouldn't be able to understand the others, isn't it? Without learning how to read, how to study, without learning a profession and being able to take care of yourself in life, you wouldn't be able to go to India and meet one of the gurus with the beards and sometimes a fat belly, because the word guru also means heavy after all, isn't it?
I mean, that's quite interesting in terms of the different types of gurus that we see, whether it be Brahman, ourself, our own consciousness, and even our parents. How about if we bring it to, for example, modern day, today's society? You see, especially in social media, we see a lot of these self-proclaimed gurus, these influencers. Do we class these as gurus as well? I mean, is there a limit to it? Where is the limit, if there is?
The Guru Gita clearly says a guru is only somebody who really has the expertise, not somebody who claims to be a guru. And the Guru Gita says that you should test the teacher. If somebody claims that he has expertise or she has expertise, then you must test them. Harshik, Sakshi, I have come to know that Sakshi is a Bharatanatyam student. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Would you go and learn Bharatanatyam from somebody who just claims to be a Bharatanatyam expert? Would you read an online article by somebody, even if it is only Twitter, who only claims to be a Bharatanatyam expert, but in reality has only learnt it for 3 years and barely practiced it, since anabhyase visham vidya, when knowledge is not practiced, it is like poison, the scriptures say. Would you? Harshik, I don't know your field, but you seem like a highly perceptive, intelligent person. Would you learn anything from someone who has no actual expertise? Does the answer not give its own answer? If you wouldn't learn from someone who has no expertise or no real expertise, why would you learn from an online source who or which clearly does not demonstrate a lot of expertise? If you are wise and sharp, you will first check the credentials of the person and the source. You will first check with great intelligence and perceptiveness and humility, because as a shishya, you have to be humble as well. You should not just assume that the guru doesn't know. You shouldn't just assume that the online resource is fake just because the design of the website isn't good enough for you, for your high standards. Because you see, this is another illness of modern people. If the website doesn't look good, it can't be a great teacher. That's crazy. What does the look of the website have to do with the teacher? Do you see that? Harshik, you will investigate, you will do your homework. The Guru Gita says that a student, a shishya, should examine a teacher. Now this will shock you, for 12 years before truly trusting him with his life. But then, after 12 years of testing and investigating and observing, if you still aren't entirely convinced that the guru knows what he or she is talking about, you had better leave and go and look for another guru. Because, Harshik, the Guru Gita also says the guru should investigate and test the student for 12 years to see if the shishya is actually worthy of the teaching. Or is the shishya perhaps just seeking the teaching in order to promote his own status in society? Is the shishya, the student, perhaps just going to the teacher's gurukula because he has nothing better to do than that? Or because you get free food at the gurukula and free lodging? And the shishya is perhaps a lazy little chap who, in the end, will slander his guru, even though he lived there for years, eating and sleeping for free. Do you see that? So it is the right of a guru to also test a student, not only the right of a student to test a guru. Mutual respect, but also mutual testing. Mutual pariksha, the word for testing is pariksha. Mutually analyzing each other, and then after 12 years, Harshik and Sakshi, you should come to a total agreement. This is like a marriage, it's like a marriage. But don't worry, it's not a real marriage. You're not marrying your guru. It is like a marriage. When you marry, it should be for life. Sakshi, when you get that ring for Harshik, it should be for life. I'm just joking. I hope you don't have fiancés and all those. They'll be very upset. I'm just joking. When you get that ring for him, it should be for life, shouldn't it? When you are with a real guru, like I had the fortune of being with a real guru, you don't go away from that Guru. You only absorb the teaching of that Guru forever and ever till you merge completely with the nature of that Guru. Because Adi Shankaracharya said that there is no simile in all the worlds that could describe a true Guru who grants knowledge. A true Guru is not just a philosopher's stone, Shankaracharya says, that turns others into gold. A true Guru is a philosopher's stone who turns others into philosopher's stones. A true Guru turns others into gurus.
That's lovely. Wow. So I think you kind of touched on it as well, though. So a little bit, but is there a way to tell if one is a guru then? Because I mean, today, I can imagine all around the world, these people who may call themselves guru, they may just be maybe trying to get you money, maybe, or get your their name up in the world. How can one tell that they're a guru? Because the research might be there as well online.
Harshik, can I ask, are you now asking for a guru in a particular field of expertise, such as, let us say, a Sanskrit guru? Or are you asking in the sense of a spiritual guru now, who will lead you to understanding your own consciousness?
I think more spiritual, because if it's academic, you can follow the research and so on.
Okay, fine. There is a little secret. When you see someone's video or their photograph even, for one moment, turn off the sound of the YouTube video. Forget what the Guru is saying and just observe his or her face. And then feel the effect it has on your mind. Harshik, have you heard of mirror neurons? Your brain can mirror the state of another person just by you observing them for a while and observing what effect that has in you. It is very easy to do. If you feel that there is compassion coming up in you, if you feel there is kindness coming up in you, if you feel the Guru's expression is one of kindness and sweetness, or maybe at least there is a twinkle in his eye when he's being mean to you, and you feel this person inspires, then it is a real Guru. When, however, Harshik, you turn off the sound and you are observing the person closely, and you sense there is actually subtle pride in that person. This person seems to be proud of himself. This person seems to be a debater who likes to dominate others. This person seems to be a tiny little bit selfish and is not doing it for the benefit of others, whatever he is doing. Then I warn you, please be careful. That is most probably not a real Guru. That is just a businessman. So you have in your mind, in your heart, the intuitive capacity to feel truth, to feel who is real, who is just a talker, who is actually proud and is just out to get your money, or simply out to build his organization, to grow his, sort of his network. Because sometimes, Harshik, people just enjoy exerting power over others. For some people, it's just the desire to have power. Even people who talk in terms of devotion and sometimes devotion to a cause and such things, be very careful, Harshik. Very often they're just enjoying power and that they are part of something that exerts power over others. It has nothing to do with spiritual realization. It's just about power. And Harshik, if you remain true to your own guru, your own inner guru, the antaryami in you, you will never go wrong, I can assure you. You will always find the right truth. Last point, if you truly seek truth, if you really want to know the truth of spiritual life, if you really want to be liberated and not just have a good life on earth, if you truly have the aspiration and you have the compassion that you don't only want that for yourself, Harshik, also for the benefit of others, I can guarantee you, your innermost true nature will lead you to the right guru. 100%.
Thank you for that, Vidyabhaskarji. That was really, really insightful. So I think we're going to end the discussion portion right now. So we're going to open the floor to some comments that have come in through Facebook. If you do have any comments, please do use the comment section and send them through. We have one right now from Gaivalji Chavda. He says, through my research, I've read that Shiv Bhagwan is the Adi Guru. Could you explain what is meant by this? Is this why Shiv Bhagwan is revered during Shravan month?
So this is, of course, just in one particular tradition of Hinduism, which is the Natha tradition or Natha Sampradaya, which is also the yogic tradition of what is today called Hatha Yoga, physical yoga, yoga that exerts a certain force on the body in order to awaken Kundalini Shakti, which is the subtle energy in your body system that then rises up the spine and shoots out of the top of your head and lets you rest in samadhi, meditative concentration. That tradition has Shiva as its Adi Guru, its primordial teacher. Yes. However, other traditions, such as Vedanta, has, for instance, Narayana as its original guru. Narayanam Padmabhavam Vasishtham. The original guru is Narayana. Then comes Brahma. Then comes Vasishtha. Right? So you see the lineage is different in Advaita Vedanta, and it is different in the Natha tradition of Gorakshanatha or Matsyendranatha and other great, great masters. And in fact, you will be surprised, my guru, who taught me a certain yoga, was also from that tradition. So yes, for me, in one of my traditions, Shiva is indeed the primordial guru. But I am also in Advaita Vedanta, which means then Narayana is the primordial guru. Yes?
Thank you very much. We've got another question from Embody. So, the question is, so as you mentioned, a guru gives us a lot, gives a lot to us. So how can we also support our guru?
It's a very, very nice question. Thank you to the lady for asking it. So we say one should ensure that the guru is fine. Because does it make sense that you are fine in terms of your life, your comfort? Sakshi goes to Starbucks every day and gets her chai latte, and Harshik gets his coffee with a double shot of espresso, and it costs you a fortune. And then, I'm joking, right? And then Ritesh, you know, buys a BMW when he has the money for it, and Kajol gets the diamond necklace, but she pays for it, right? So is that right? But your guru, your teacher, who's giving you everything for free, because that's the traditional rule, right? The teacher has to give things for free. He can't charge for it. Vidyadhanam sarvadhana pradhanam. But your teacher has to wonder how he or she will pay the bill at the end of the month, and whether he or she really can afford to have a coffee on the way to London where he needs to teach you. So I'll tell you one little event. This is a little funny, and I don't hold it against anyone because my heart is full of love for all beings. It really is, thanks to my gurus. I was once invited to London by people you know. Really, you physically know them. And they said they would pay for my EasyJet flight, and they never did. So I paid my own flight. Fortunately, it wasn't so expensive. And I arrived in London, and I gave all these talks or whatever. And in the end, you see, it's not Hindu tradition and culture at that moment to go there and say, and now here is the invoice, right? That's not the tradition. That's why I'm doing it now, live on camera. They never gave me the EasyJet ticket. Is that right? I mean, at least someone could have asked that, Acharya, how did you even get here? Did you fly here on a carpet, right? Because, you know, some people used to do that in ancient times. They flew on carpets, didn't they? So do you see, it really is important at least to cover the expenses of the teacher. If not, you could also support the organization or the group with a humble contribution. It's very common to have a humble contribution towards the group or organization that your teacher is part of. It's very common, and it's not a big thing. You do the same in your karate club, don't you? You do the same in your judo club. You do the same in your art club, don't you? Why not when it comes to your teacher's organization? But having spoken about money, which is an ugly topic, it really, you know, makes my hair stand on end. And here I don't have any left, so they can't stand. But it's really not a nice subject, money. And I can tell you, gurus who charge money, it is terrible. It is not the right way. The tradition says you cannot charge money. It has to be from the heart and generous. Therefore, there are many other ways you can contribute as well. If it's not for money, you could simply spread the word that this is a nice teacher. And this teacher knows what he's talking about or what she's talking about, if he or she actually knows what they're talking about, right? As we said before, please don't promote a teacher who doesn't know what he's talking about. Please don't. That's obvious, isn't it? And please don't promote teachers who cause abuse and scandals. Please don't. Yes? Do you see the point? But where you see that a teacher is genuinely benefiting people, what's the problem? Why not give him or her a little bit of support, whether it is in kind, whether it is financial, whether it is simply telling other people about the teacher, so that not only the teacher's group can grow a little, but also the teaching, because the teaching is more important than the teacher, isn't it? I mean, Sakshi, is it more important that your individual Bharatanatyam teacher becomes famous, or is it important that Bharatanatyam becomes famous? Isn't that obvious? Is it important that an individual Hindu or Buddhist guru becomes important, or is it important that Hinduism and Buddhism become important? I mean, that should be obvious. It is Hinduism and Buddhism, or rather their innermost essence, which is compassion and meditation, awareness, observing, knowing your states. That should become famous, not the teachers. But if it is necessary in modern times that individual teachers should be known a little, then all right. But in ancient times, I can assure you, most people were actually anonymous. Most scriptures were written anonymously. Really, they were. People were so humble, they published books and scriptures anonymously because it wasn't about them as individuals. Oh, I'm so great, I need to be the next guru of the world. I mean, that's crazy. The teaching should be important, not the teacher. But if it's necessary to help the teacher, at least to give him the respect of giving a little bit of your time. And Sakshi or Amber, if you don't have any way to do something in kind, to be of some use or service, to spread some awareness of the teaching, or to give some small financial help or whatever it is, if you're not in such a position, there is one last thing you can do for the teacher: to practice the teaching. That is the gratitude that my guru said. He said, look, you're a young man. You've got nothing you can give to me. Stop asking, what can I do for you? I used to ask the same question. What can I do for you? You're so great. Oh, I want to kiss your feet. Oh, please, stop it, right? That the guru would say, stop it. Then he would say, well, at least practice the teaching, please. If the guru takes so much time teaching it for free, at least have the respect to practice it. Yes?
Absolutely. That's such an important perspective, I think. We all need to hear, and I think our students will also be really inspired by that. So we've got one more question from Raviji. He says, where do you see the role of a guru adapting with modern day society?
A guru who cannot adapt to modern day society should please not call himself or herself a guru. Please just get out of here. Please go to the jungle, go to the Himalayas and stay there. Yes? A guru has to adapt to modern society. Yadyapi shuddham loka viruddham nacharaniyam, Shankaracharya said. Even if you think it's right and pure, I'll give you an example. Some of the scriptures say that it is more auspicious and right to walk around in the nude, naked, because, well, after all, we were born naked, weren't we? Therefore, it is more genuine, rather than to walk around in clothes, to walk around naked. This is called digambara, or there are other terms for it, to walk around nude. Well, can I ask you, Harshik, I know it's not quite politically correct and not the right audience here. Is that a good idea in the 21st century to walk around naked in London, coming from Gatwick Airport all the way to Croydon and then to Kingston University or King's College or something like that? Is that a good idea?
Probably not today's society.
I think it's illegal, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is.
In the UK, and if it's not illegal, please make it illegal. So the point is, if gurus cannot adjust to modern times, Shankaracharya said, please don't do it. Please don't do it. Please adjust to modern times. That's what he said. And that is exactly what any sensible teacher does. teacher needs to understand the students. How can a teacher teach if he doesn't understand the students? I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? Then it means he's not a teacher, then he shouldn't teach. Then, you know, go and knock yourself out in the Sahara Desert, I know somewhere, but don't teach, please. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you for that. And we've got one final question, or time for one final question. So this is by Ajayji Sohal. His question is, to absorb all the knowledge from a guru, what qualities do we, the Shishya, need to embody?
Wonderful question. I hope I have 2 hours to answer this. Do I? No. So the Rigveda says, the Rigveda is the oldest scripture, not only of Hinduism, one could quite fairly say it is the oldest scripture of humanity. It really is. At least one of the oldest. We might talk about Sumerian scriptures and others. Yes, I agree. But those weren't really scriptures. The Rigveda is a scripture, you see. And it says the following. Achikitwan chikitu shashchidatra kavin prichami vidmane navidvan. Which means, I approach those who know, the sages, being ignorant myself, because only when I know that I am ignorant can I learn from them. Isn't that obvious? If I don't admit that I'm ignorant, if I don't admit humbly that I don't know how to meditate, if I assume that I just already know, how can I learn from the teacher? So the first quality is humility and admitting that you don't know. Stop being a know-it-all. You don't know. Therefore, ask the teacher. That's what he or she is there for. Isn't that obvious? Second point, the desire to know. This is called jnana. If you don't have the inquisitive nature, the wish to know, how will you approach a teacher and ask him, so how do I meditate? If you take the approach, like I'm very sorry to say, most modern humans, they already think they know. Really. I want to say this very humbly, Harshik. Please don't be offended. Don't you actually think you already know what meditation is? Don't you? Please be very honest.
A little bit.
There you go. But Harshik, in all humility, with all kindness and the supreme modesty, you just don't know, actually. Because I am pretty sure from our interactions of what you've told me about yourself that you have never meditated for half an hour, have you? Thank you for your honesty. Harshik, that simply means you don't know what meditation is. But shouldn't you then ask those who know and actually practice it for a while before you even have the idea you know what it is supposed to be about? Most people say meditation is about becoming calm. No, it's not. It's not. It just is not. Meditation is about understanding the mind, understanding emotions, understanding your true nature, and then when you have truly understood it, then there is peace. Then there is real peace of mind. Certainly not in the first 3 years of your meditation practice. In the first 3 years of your practice, which means daily practice of minimum 12 minutes, you cannot expect to just have peace of mind. No, that's the time you need to explore why your emotions are restless. And you need to learn the method of observing your emotions, of observing your pride, of observing your conceitedness, of observing your bitterness, of observing your hatred for others, of observing your aversion towards others, of observing the hurts that you hold in yourself, the grudges you have towards others, you need to become the sakshi, the witness of all these, and then they slowly dissolve, and then at some point you can really be like, and then it is peace. Yes? So please, the second quality is the desire to actually know. And the third quality, and here we can finish, is abhyasa, practicing. Without abhyasa, any practice, any knowledge transfer, any information you have received is only information. I can tell you now, Sakshiji, that to witness your emotions without holding on to them and without rejecting them, just naming the emotion. For instance, if you have an emotion of restlessness and you just observe it and name it, this is restlessness. 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 And if you're too agitated, you go like this. You inhale deeply. And then again, note restlessness. If you do this for 5 minutes, Sakshiji, your restlessness will recede and dissolve. But Sakshiji, dearly beloved Sakshiji, if you don't practice it, nothing will happen. Hari Om. Thank you.
Dhanyavad. And on that note, that concludes today's Q&A for today. Thank you for all of your questions. And if your questions weren't answered, don't worry, because we will be noting them down and we'll aim to get them answered by ourselves and Acharya Vidyabhaskarji afterwards onto our other channels. And I would just like to say Dhanyavad to Vidyabhaskarji for a very nice insight into what is a guru, and expanding on this as well, expanding on a guru in today's day and age. I'm sure students that have tuned in today have definitely been inspired. And definitely one key takeaway I had from it is just the idea of a guru, not just a teacher, not just a spiritual guru, but also the idea of it being ourselves, our own conscious. So I think it's something that's definitely hit me. How about you, Sakshi?
Yeah, I agree. That's a really, really important point that I think I've taken away too. Also, what Vidyabhaskarji said at the end about being a good shishya, you know, you have to have that true desire to want to learn. I think that's extremely important. I think that's one of my takeaways today. Vidyabhaskarji, do you have any other final takeaways you want to share?
Well, your own awareness, your own consciousness, your own mind is the real guru. It's the real teacher. Never let anyone in all the world tell you what to do if it goes against your innermost heart, if it goes against compassion. There are many, 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 many teachers in this world. There are political leaders. There are people who claim that they are guiding others in the name of some cause, some so-called noble cause. If it is not in alignment with compassion for all beings, not just your own crowd, not just your own group, for all beings, then I can assure you it is not right. Only your own innermost consciousness, awareness, the supreme reality that is right now present in you, in the form of your consciousness, in the form of your mind and awareness. Only that truly deserves to be called a guru. And only those who guide you gently towards that, and those, of course, who give you the knowledge capacities on that path of life that you are moving through. And my dearest Harshik, there is also death at the end of that path. Only those who guide you well deserve to be called gurus. That is my request for each and all to understand, and also to be good students in all fields, whatever field it is. Be a genuine student. Use this life, this precious life that is so short, that is going to end sooner than you think. Use it well. Use it with true kindness for others. Don't hold grudges. Don't be selfish. Live for others. Live for knowledge. Live for purity. Live for realization. Live for liberation. Don't live for yourself. Thank you.
And with that, we would like to thank Vidyabhaskarji for today's session. And thank you to everyone for tuning in and participating in today's Manthan. As mentioned earlier, we will come round to answering questions if unanswered. And on that note, please do like, follow, share our channels to stay in touch with all that we have planned. There are plenty more similarly refreshing discussions and opportunities coming your way. As you may have noticed, it has been several weeks since our last Manthan, as we will now be having these discussions once a month. We also have 2 exciting events coming up for our students, so stay tuned for more information regarding these. Thank you from Sakshi and I, and one last thank you to Vidyabhaskarji. Until next month, wishing everyone a great evening ahead. Namaste and Shubhratri.